be seated.
Announcements none. Papers have been laid. Questions?
Leader of the opposition.
My question is addressed to the Honourable Prime Minister. Whether he will, for the benefit of the House, obtain from the Commissioner of Police information as to whether the inquiry into the murder of Mr. SK in October 2020 has now been completed and the findings thereof.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like first of all to once again express my deepest sympathy to the bereaved family of late Mr. SK, whom I knew personally, being a supporter of my party. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is important to highlight that police inquiry into the death of Mr. SK had started as far back as October 2020 at the level of Mocha Police Station. The case was subsequently taken over by the Major Crime Investigation Team. Whilst the inquiry was ongoing by the MCIT, in November 2020, at the request of the Director of Public Prosecutions, an interim report was sent to his office. On 1st December 2020, pursuant to Section 111 of the District and Intermediate Courts Criminal Jurisdiction Act 1988, a representative of the DPP lodged a case for a judicial inquiry into the death of Mr. SK at the District Court of Mocha. The judicial inquiry started on 4th of December 2020, and after hearings were completed, the district magistrate submitted her findings to the DPP on 22nd of November 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that following a minute from the Director of Public Prosecutions on 26th of January 2022, referring to the findings of the judicial inquiry, the Office of the DPP instructed the police to investigate the case and report back to his office. I am further informed that since the start of the police inquiry in October 2020 until November 2021, statements from 98 persons had been recorded. After the instructions of the DPP dated 26 January 2022, 17 other persons have been questioned by the Major Crime Investigation Team, and their statements have been recorded. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the inquiry is ongoing, it will not be proper for me to provide further information related to the case at this stage, as it may cause prejudice to the investigations. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the House is aware, the judicial inquiry into the death of late SK was ordered by the DPP pursuant to Sections 110 and 111 of the District and Intermediate Court Criminal Jurisdiction Act, which provides as follows, and I quote, Section 110, investigation in case of violent death. Subsection 1. Where a magistrate is informed that a person has committed suicide, has been killed by another, or by an animal, or by machinery, or an accident, has died under circumstances raising a reasonable suspicion that some person has committed an offense or has died in prison or while in custody of the police, he shall proceed or order an officer to proceed to the examination of the body and an investigation of the matter with the assistance of a medical practitioner. Subsection 2, the magistrate may, in any such case, exercise all of his powers under section 50. And subsection 3, the magistrate shall forward to the Director of Public Prosecutions the reports of the officer and medical practitioner together with his own report and any further information bearing on the case. And section 111, inquiry into violent or suspicious death, subsection 1, in any of the cases specified in section 110, the Director of Public Prosecutions may, whether before or after receiving from the magistrate the reports referred to, require the magistrate to hold an inquiry into the cause of the death and circumstances connected with it, and thereupon the magistrate shall hold such inquiry and shall proceed to take the depositions of those who know the facts and circumstances of the case. And subsection 2, the depositions shall be taken and recorded as depositions are taken at an inquiry under Part 2, and all witnesses shall be liable to the same penalties for non-attendance when summoned and for giving false evidence as any witness in such inquiry. Subsection 3, in holding such inquiry, the magistrate may exercise any of the powers referred to in sections 50 and 110, and subsection 4, such inquiry shall be held in open court, unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, it follows, therefore, that the report of the district magistrate was meant to be submitted to the DPP for appropriate action, as acknowledged by the Office of the DPP in its communiqué issued on 17th October 2022. However, as the House is also aware, the purported report of the judicial inquiry has been leaked out and has become the subject of debate and all sorts of comments in the media and among members of the opposition. It is indeed a matter of great concern that such a document, if genuine, has found its way in the public domain, as the ensuing hue and cry in the media and in the opposition will certainly undermine any further investigation into the case. Moreover, the trial by the press will also undermine the course of justice and deny a fair trial to any accused who may later be brought to court. It should again be brought out that the leaked document in question is only a purported report of the findings of the district magistrate. It is not a judgment. Moreover, the leaked report, which has been the subject of so many comments and recriminations in certain sections of the media and the opposition, is neither signed nor does it bear the official seal of the district court. The authenticity of the purported report cannot therefore be ascertained. Nevertheless, be that as it may, I, as Prime Minister, am as concerned as the close ones of late Mr. SK to see a speedy completion of the police inquiry in this matter. Besides, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that the inquiry is being carried out in accordance with the instructions of the DPP. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me make it very clear that we, on this side of the House, are also very keen to see that the perpetrator or perpetrators of such heinous crime, whoever they are brought to justice and are made to pay for their acts. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, firstly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the DPP, the magistrate and the avengers for the courageous efforts to establish the truth in an inquiry which was going to establish the death of Mr. Kistnen as suicide.
Your
That is a
question
fact.
first.
My question, Mr. Speaker, is this. Of the 17 persons who have been interrogated since the end of January 2022, is Mr. Yogina Sominaden on that list? And if so, was it under caution? And will this also provide the House the full list of the persons interrogated since January 2022?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think everyone would appreciate that it is not proper for me to give information about the inquiry itself with regard to who are even with regard to who are the people who have been questioned so far and who are those who are likely to be questioned in the future. Like, this is such a, I would call it a bit of an exceptional case that maybe, as I say exceptionally, I can try to give some information. But I must inform the House that the police carries out an inquiry in all confidentiality. The police does not communicate to me the contents of such inquiry. But again, as I state, because there has been so much hue and cry, and anyway, I don't want to qualify what has been publicized, said. So exceptionally, let me say that I have asked the police, in fact, and I have been informed that Mr. Sominaden has not yet been interrogated amongst the 17 that I mentioned, but he was interrogated earlier, and he had given 8 statements to the police in connection with this matter.
Mr. would tell us whether the integration was concerning the constituency clerk issue. Also, of course, Mr. Speaker, you know that he will need to be interrogated under caution. But let me firstly come to this famous report by the magistrate, which the DPP himself has not contested the veracity thereof. Let that be clear. Now, this report, Mr. Speaker, has concluded in a very strong manner about the incompetence and the cover-up of the police force in particular.
Mr. Speaker, can I take objection to what the Honourable Member is saying? First of all, on a point of order, I don't mind what he quotes from any report, but if there is a report, I have not been communicated with such a report. I don't have any cognizance of such a report. Could the Honourable Member table the report so that I can have a look at that report and, of course, be in a better position to answer his questions?
Mr. Speaker, he just told us that
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I can table it at the end of the question
It is a
time.
very clear issue.
Certainly, I will
Please table the report.
I will refer to it and table it in a moment. There's no rush. He has been waiting
but
a
you
year
cannot-
for it.
You cannot.
Mr. Speaker.
I have
will-
taken an objection.
Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister, given that this report has been so critical of the CID team,
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am taking a point of order.
I am.
The Honourable
I'm
Leader of
waiting
the
for the report.
you want
to
me
be
to
on the
bring it to
table.
you yourself? You want me
Where
to
is
bring
the
it?
report? The report should be on the table.
You want me to bring it to you?
That report should be on the table. Please. Don't delay anymore.
There's still people who haven't come to pick it up, not me.
I'm talking not,
All right?
not to you. I'm talking to the attendant.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, the Honourable Magistrate has said that she does not want any other case to be dealt with in the same manner. Now, let me ask the Honourable Prime
Can I
Minister.
see this
On a point
report
of-
first of all?
Is that
What it is? What
Honourable
it is?
Leader of the Opposition, first of all, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, let me ask the Prime Minister, is it a point of order you're raising?
I want.
What is your point of order?
The point of order is I need to have a look at the report, whether it is a report.
Have a look.
Well, yes, this report, Mr. Speaker, sir. First of all, as I say, there is no seal of the district court. There is no signature of the magistrate. I don't see anything to certify the authenticity of this report. So, is it a report?
So let me examine the report. Please bring the report to me. Wait a minute, I will give you the floor. So, the chair rules that this report doesn't seem to have any authenticity. So, anyone who bears a report, anyone who holds a report, or comments from the report bears his own responsibility.
Speaker, the original inquiry by CID, MCIT, whatever, concluded suicide. It is clear from the depositions during Muka court, from the report of the magistrate that has not been contested by the DPP himself, that there was huge incompetence and even cover-up in the part of the police officers originally involved in that case. Have these officers been interdicted? This is nothing to do with the inquiry. Have they been interdicted? Have they been disciplined? Have they been dismissed from the force? Or, as we understand it, have they in fact been promoted to higher ranks?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have also read the communiqué of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Maybe the little English that I know, I do not see anywhere in the communiqué, and perhaps with the help of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, he can enlighten me a bit as to where in that communiqué the DPP has said that this is the report of the finding of the judicial inquiry into the case of death of Mr. SK. Where is it? Maybe he will just try to pinpoint to me which paragraph says that. Now, secondly, let me answer, my friend. Secondly, this case was reported, I am informed, by the at the police station of Mocha on the 18th of October 2020, not as a case of suicide. It was reported dead body. So therefore the inquiry started. And I am informed that it is unfortunate, I must say, that during the course of the inquiry, one officer, in his opinion, has said that it could be a case of suicide. But it was never classified as a case of suicide. It was never, there was never, I am informed by the police, that there was never any communication to the office of the DPP to say that the conclusion is that this is a case of suicide. So therefore, inquiry has been ongoing and is still going on.
Yes, the Prime Minister knows about the case in detail. So I'm going to ask the Prime Minister, if you read the first paragraph of the communiqué of the Director of Prosecutions regarding to disclosure of the findings, it is clear that the report is a genuine report, Mr. Speaker. So therefore the question again here, have the original team, which have been so criticized during the hearing, forget the report, during the hearing, and in public hearings, have these members, instead of being interdicted, have they been promoted?
I'm not aware about those who have inquired into the matter. What I know is that inquiry is proceeding, and who are the people who are, whether they are the same people who are inquiring, different people, I can find out.
Apparently one ASP, Mr. S, was in fact promoted to SP following the initial inquiry, Mr. Speaker. Now the second thing is this police medical officer, where again it is recommended that there should be an inquiry into the professional competence. He in fact did the autopsy and came to completely different conclusion as to the cause of death, etc. Is this medical officer, Dr. S, still performing autopsies for the police? Can you tell us?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I say, I have not been communicated with the findings of the report of the magistrate. Neither the police, anyway, I'm informed that they have not been communicated. So I don't know what are the conclusions with regard to the conduct of police officers, with regard to the conduct of police medical officer. If I have the report, of course, I will try to see to it that if ever any action has to be taken, but I don't have this information.
Since Friday, can the Prime Minister tell us since Friday that the report has been out? Did he talk to the Commissioner of Police at all about it, or not at all?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I can understand the ignorance of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. He doesn't know probably how the process is when there is a judicial inquiry. The finding of the judicial inquiry is not communicated to the public. It is not communicated even to counsel who are appearing in the case. It is communicated only to the Director of Public Prosecution. And as has rightly been pointed out in the communiqué of the Director of Public Prosecution, it is he alone who decides whether to make that finding public or not. It's good that I quote paragraph 6. As such, it is for the DPP alone to decide in what particular circumstances the findings should be made public, taking as sole consideration public interest. I don't want to read the whole of this paragraph, but if the DPP decides to make that public, then of course I will take notice, and then we will see whatever actions have to be taken.
He told us on his radar, there are so many things on his radar. Now what I want to know now is that this has caused such a tremendous concern in the population that as Minister of Interior, did you or did you not, since Friday, communicate at any point in time with the Commissioner of Police, who may or may not come to see you every morning, and ask him and raise this matter with the Commissioner of Police? Will you tell us that as Minister of Interior, you have not raised this issue with the Commissioner of Police yet?
Which issue?
The issue of the death of the murder of Mr. Kistnen, of the purported report, and whether to his knowledge this report is or not a real, genuine report.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, of course I am concerned. And that is why the Attorney General also has issued a communiqué to express government's concern on the fact that there is a document which is in circulation. Now, the question, the fundamental question, first of all, is it an authentic document? Is it in fact the finding of the magistrate? And therefore, according to law, according to our regulations, there are only certain people who have access to this document so far. It has not been made public. So that is why there need to be an inquiry. In fact, the police has started an inquiry into this matter. Of course, it is of concern. And now you are talking about radar, You know, he's talking about radar. Maybe his son also, he will tell me that his son has been on the radar of my radar.
Mr. Speaker, I can talk at length on the children and even the family of the Prime Minister. If he wants to go into that, let's have a debate. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
What radar?
You want me to talk about your children or your wife? So don't talk about my son.
Assume your
Okay,
responsibility.
now, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my child has not been drinking and driving a car and causing an accident and trying to... This is cover-up.
Prime Minister, please refrain from... Order! Order! No honorable member should bring family inside the House. Please continue.
So ask him to withdraw it. Ask him to withdraw what he has said. Ask him to withdraw what he has said if he doesn't want to bring family into this House.
This is not family.
Ask him to withdraw.
This is a criminal case where there is an investigation, my friend.
You are tampering.
It so happens.
Now,
Your
Mr.
question.
Mr. Speaker, concerning the, he therefore tells us, despite all this concern in the population, he is refusing to say whether he has raised the matter with the Commissioner of Police. This is on record now, Mr. Speaker. Now let's continue about this murder case. Now the murder case, Mr. Speaker, reveals widespread corruption in emergency procurement during COVID-19, of which himself was the chairman of that committee. Widespread corruption. Can I ask the Prime Minister whether he will now, after all this, after the report of the magistrate, whether he will now appoint a commission of inquiry, because there are not hundreds of millions, there are billions of rupees, and it is clear, and the magistrate says it is clear, that the procurement issue could be the major cause of the murder of late Mr. Kistnen.
Let me first correct what the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has said. Maybe he was not paying attention when I was replying, referring to whether I had raised the matter of the purported, the leak of the purported document in public with the Commissioner of Police. I have just said. And as a result, there is an inquiry. And it is not only that, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is not only that I have raised it. I see that the judiciary has also raised it, because the senior registrar and regional court administrator at the Supreme Court was instructed by the master and registrar to give a declaration concerning the Judicial Inquiry Cause number 4716/2020, which was held before Mocha District Court, where learned magistrate of Mocha District Court gave her findings on 22nd November 2021. Declaration as to there is an inquiry on possible leakage of the findings and documents of the district magistrate of Mocha. So, you see, I have raised it. The judiciary also is raising the same concern. Now, with regard to the second part of his question, again, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is referring to a document of which, first of all, he has produced he has tabled this document, which is not acceptable because there is no signature, there is no seal, we don't know the authenticity, it is not certified to be a copy of the findings. So, how can I answer on documents which he is quoting, which are not authenticated?
On his meeting, during his meeting with the Commissioner of Police, since the 26th of January, the Commissioner of Police have been advised of the report of the findings. They did not ask the Commissioner of Police whether this what has been published corroborates what has been submitted to him. He failed to do that.
I don't understand what he does understand, the Leader of the Opposition. The police has not been communicated with the report with the findings. The police has not been communicated. It is with the DPP, my honorable leader of the opposition. What has happened, let me explain. What has happened when the DPP has received the report, the DPP has advised the police to carry out the investigation. The report has not been communicated to the police. How many times do I have to say that?
So the advice must be corroborate this particular report. I know that you're trying to hide, you're trying to get away from it. It is very clear what you're trying to do. Nobody is fooled by what you're trying to do. I'd like to say, Mr. Speaker, one last thing to show how the police are acting in this case. It's been in the press now that the DPP has, for many weeks now, asked for Honorable Yogidas Sominaden to be formally charged in connection with the case of the constituency clerk. Is he going to tell us that the CP, who he meets every day, has not also informed him that one of his own MPs, an ex-minister, has been advised that police have been advised there should be a formal charge against him? He's also not aware of that?
Well, I am aware that there is an inquiry which is ongoing at the level of the police. And the police will obviously, in consultation with the DPP, will take a stand whenever.
Okay, time is over. You're just turning around. Time is over. My ruling, time is over. Next item, Prime Minister's question time.
Be stroke now.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the exclusive economic zone of Mauritius, which extends over an area of approximately 2.3 million kilometers square, covering